Almost there, almost there, almost there. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. Once again, I caught myself staring out in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden, I was alive. I love it when that happens. Actually, I don't, but it is what it is. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I hope you are enjoying the start of the week. I hope you're enjoying some of the weather that we're enjoying here. And and I hope that we're going to have some fun today. We have some great news to share, some interesting news about what's going on with the coronavirus numbers. I'm going to pin my comment, and now I am completely yours. I didn't set up a poll so if there's any question that is lingering on your mind that you are curious about, do let me know and we'll make it happen. Um, yes, I did it again, Paul. um, hey, sometimes I wake up with, five senses, and sometimes my senses are not entirely with me. What can I tell you? Um, this is great. It's great to see your faces, and it's great to see what you guys are up to. Oh, you're calling it a cold open? Okay, a cold open it is. This is Coffee and Headlines, folks. As always, if you're new to these broadcasts, we get together live every morning at 10:30. Sometimes things are very planned and choreographed, and other times we're just giddy and silly. But what we do is we get together to share news and headlines about things going on in places near and far from Puerto Vallarta as they relate to our lives here. We welcome everyone that joins us on a regular basis. We welcome new friends. If you're new, please type the word new on your comments, and we will welcome you accordingly. Um, Christy says she missed yesterday. Well, you missed a wonderful word which we talked about, which is guacala, and we can say that this morning is the weather is really guacala because it's hot and humid out there. We'll take a look at the weather in a second, and we'll see what kind of day we can expect to have weather-wise and what not. Um, can we have tequila and headline sometime? Absolutely. I think that is a great idea. It's just only 10:30 in the morning, but it must be noon somewhere. Um, it seems that ever since you guys brought up the whole thing about the Karens, or maybe I was the one that brought it up, it's everywhere. How sad! How sad! My friend Catherine very accurately said that in Mexico, when it's better when we shame other people because when we shame people publicly, all we do is call them lords or ladies, whereas in north of the border, they have ruined a perfectly nice name like Karen and turned it into this horrible thing. Very, very sad. But that's just the way it is. We cannot control that very much. Um, Isabel, it's great to see you. I think I read somewhere that you're not going to open your hotel and restaurant yet. I hope you're safe. I hope you're healthy. I hope things are going good for you. Um, of course, Casa Isabel is such a wonderful place, and such a great restaurant. If I may, I don't know if you're open right now, but yeah, what I love about having dinner at Casa Isabel is that it's extremely affordable. It's very laid back. It's wonderful food, and you have this great view of Colonia Emiliano Zapata, which can only be afforded from the same from a similar perspective from other more expensive restaurants. But I love Casa Isabel because of that view. What a great place. Anyhow, it's great to see you all. It's great. I didn't realize I made a Liza Minnelli impression, and if I did, um, please remind me where I was, or maybe I'll watch the show later on today. I don't know what my Liza Minnelli impression is, but I really wish I did because it might come handy if I ever want to leave a restaurant without paying the bill. Never know, never know. Glad to know that you're safe and happy, Isabel. And thank you so much for chiming in. It's great that you're enjoying the broadcasts. Very much appreciated. Um, and I see that I'm not alone in my appraisal of the restaurant. It is a beautiful, beautiful place. I've never had the pleasure of staying there, but I can see why a lot of honeymooners find Casa Isabel extremely romantic. Um, or so I've heard. Anyhow, let us get going with some news and headlines because, as you know, it is Monday and we have updated COVID-19 numbers for the state, courtesy of our governor, Enrique Alfaro. Let's take a look at those. And yes, as you know, we get new COVID 19 numbers from the governor every Monday morning. We can see that the number of cases is still high up in the red, although I've been reading elsewhere that it's maintaining itself. It's not increasing, which I've read in at least one or two headlines that what that means is that the rhythm of the pandemic is becoming more stable. It's stabilizing. 25.4% positivity rate, which I understand to mean that of every 100 people that get tested, about a quarter of them test positive, and the morbidity rate, it's still low, and I understand that it is fairly low compared to other states in the country. Our hospital capacity in the state of Jalisco is still very much manageable. It's still in the 20s. And our mobility continues to be fairly high, but still within the margins that the government considers safe. What does this all mean? This means that Jalisco is in the orange, and this graph came from the government of Jalisco. So the government of Jalisco is now merging some of its stats with the federal system. And what it means being in the orange, we know what it means, but just as a reminder, the risk is still high, so you should try not to go out. If we were in the red, we would be under maximum risk, which would mean, just stay at home. And that is the case for the state of Nayarit, just north of the border. The beaches have not opened there yet, and they're not expected to open for another week. We also find out, this is interesting news, although it's not very specific just yet. There was a lot of back and forth between the local government and the university because of the trimming of the trees along the Pitillal River. Well, apparently, our mayor, Arturo Dávalos, and the university rector, Jorge Telles, have met and have sat down and ironed their differences, and they've announced that they're going to collaborate in 8 projects together in which they're hoping to improve some of the ecological infrastructure in the region. It is worth, I think, taking a close look at this. So I'm going to try to do some on-the-go translation. These projects include the promotion and the development of the Boca de Tomates natural protected area. This is the part this is the area just north of the airport. The network of urban forests that includes the Boca Negra estuary, the El Salado estuary, the Pitillal River, the Agua Azul Park, the Cuale, and the Palo Maria rivers. That is another area in which they're going to be working on at different layers, because each one of these different places has its own peculiarities. The government is also going to work with university in the restoration and reforesting, in putting trees back in the Pitillal River. This also includes working on the cultural corridor along Francisco Villa Avenue that includes Estación Gourmet, which is right next by the Libramiento, all the way down to Los Mangos Library. What exactly is going to be done in that area is a mystery to me. Then they're also going to be working on bringing the Mojoneras to Ixtapa highway to 4 lanes. Um, so these are just assorted projects that are going to be taking place throughout the city, and it is all good because we know that the university, being overseen by a biologist, is very much committed to the preservation of Puerto Vallarta's natural areas. So it will be great to see looking forward at to what they're going to come up with specifically. We also learn from Airbnb this headline that says that well, the headline came from Vallarta Opina, that says that Airbnb is close to bankruptcy. Now, I don't know that it is close to bankruptcy as much as it is a company that is going through a lot of financial problems right now. I read the article, and the article is nothing new from what we shared last week in a very interesting video from The Economist. Um, and we already know that Airbnb has been going through a very challenging time keeping their numbers where they would like them to be. We find out that the places in Mexico where most Airbnb units are Mexico City, the state of Jalisco, the state of Quintana Roo, and Baja California, of course. Um, so it cannot be easy for Airbnb or for anyone involved in hospitality right now. So we're going to keep an eye on this to see what else is going on. And this is something that makes me sad, but it's probably true in Guadalajara, and it's probably true elsewhere. The tianguis are a dangerous place for us to be in because of coronavirus. What is a tianguis? Well, tianguis is another one of those words that comes from the Nahuatl, and it refers to the outdoor markets that appear in cities large and small throughout the country. Um, Next to hospitals and public transportation, tianguis or outdoor markets are places where, because it's been difficult to monitor safety guidelines, it is a place to be avoided if you are concerned about COVID-19. And this makes me sad because tianguis are a natural place in cities like Puerto Vallarta where you can go and support local farmers and local produce people and buying their things directly from them, shopping local. And it is unfortunate, I will say, that given the nature of these outdoor markets, these are places that we should probably avoid, unless we're extremely careful with our face masks and so forth and so on. That makes me think of an interesting question, and that has to do with whether you are likely to shop at outdoor markets or not. Let me make that happen. Are you likely? Hold on. Are you likely? I cannot even type this morning. You likely to shop? I'll be with you in a second. Shop at an outdoor market. I'm almost there. I'm not a slow typist, but when you're live, it's not easy to make these things work rapidly. Let me just say yes. In fact, we're going to say sí, and we're going to say no, and we're going to save that. And that is your question for the day. While I make that appear on your screen, I'm going to take a quick look at your comments. Good morning, Lee. Good morning, so many people that I see. Good morning, Jorge. Jorge Gonzalez, my dear, dear friend Jorge, is the bartender at Hotel Mercurio. If you ever feel sad, if you are depressed, or if you're particularly thirsty, go see Jorge. He'll bring out a smile on your face and he'll let you forget about your troubles with his amazingly wonderful disposition. And if he fails at doing that, he'll just serve you a stiff cocktail, and that will be enough for you to forget about your troubles. um, Dave brings up an interesting an interesting comment about the Emiliano Zapata market being crowded and very few face masks. I would be fearful too about being in places like that, or maybe I would feel comfortable. Um, I would feel comfortable just going in and out. Again, the whole thing about the face masks is, if we wear them, then we're taking care of ourselves and those around us. If people around us don't wear them, then we just skirt around them, and hopefully that will take care of things. Anyhow, I'm not going to get into the face masks right now because things start flying and people start cursing, and not in this show, but my goodness, the face masks have become such a divisive thing in the world. It's not even funny. But anyhow, I am going to move on to the leisurely stuff. We look at the weather, and I have news of an interesting fundraising project, and I'm glad that my friend Logan is here because we are going to talk about you in a minute, Logan. So I hope you're dressed. But first, the weather. It's 82 degrees. Can you feel the humidity? I sure can. It's 72% humidity right now. I like what snarky Carrot Weather says today. That's right, Mr. Sun. Go hide behind those clouds like the coward you are. I love it. Anyhow, it is going to be hot and humid today. There's very little chance of rain, but it'll be cloudy through the day. So hopefully, it'll be possible to be out and about without feeling too much of the sun on our back. I am excited because finally I got I made a phone call to get my television set repaired, and the repairman is going to come today, which means that I have to pre-clean the house because somehow I've managed to go back to being a caveman as it relates to the way I keep my house clean. No, I won't be accepting guests anytime soon, but the TV repairman is going to be here, so I'd better make the place look at least somewhat presentable. The reason why I brought up my dear friend Logan is because Logan asked me for some help with a fundraising project that is dear to his heart and dear to my heart as well. Let me start by saying this. For better or for worse, we rely on word of mouth to figure out places to go, people to cater to. We rely on Facebook groups, Facebook pages. We rely on TripAdvisor. But then there are all these vendors or providers that don't necessarily have access to these mechanisms. I can think of several. There is that wonderful lady that sells cheese and panela between the highway, between Mascota and San Sebastián del Oeste. There's other people that sell bread and baked products in El Tuito. There are a number of regional providers that are wonderful, and we all know them, and we hear about them from our friends, but they don't really know how to promote themselves because they never had to. But then came the pandemic, and it changed things for a few players. One of those players is our friend Juan Caballo, who is a tour provider, a horseback riding tour provider in the municipality of El Jorullo, which is right next to Puerto Vallarta. If you've been to the barbecue place, help me, Logan, what's the name of the barbecue place? Paso Ancho. If you've been to Paso Ancho along the Rio Cuale and you keep going along that road, you're going to end up at El Jorullo. And at El Jorullo we have a friend there called Juan, Gomez Rocha, but everybody knows him as Juan Caballos. He has been offering horseback riding tours in this part of town for many, many, many years. He's part of a horseback riding co-op in which together a bunch of people care for these horses and and keep them healthy and keep them happy so that we can then go exploring the riverbanks and go up the mountains and find all these wonderful places. And Juan and his peers have been doing this, taking people up the mountains without relying on social media or relying on TripAdvisor and whatnot, and keeping very good relationships with a few select hotels. But then came COVID, and what happened when COVID came, their ability to be able to feed the horses became compromised. It takes about 5,000 pesos per month to feed their horses. So, one of the things that Logan decided to do along with other friends is Logan spoke with Juan Caballos and said, well, we can help you raise money to feed the horses during the summer months. So, Logan and peers, and I'm going to consider myself a peer, we decided we would help out for 4 months: June, July, August, and September. And so far, we've raised enough money to feed horses for June and July. And now we're raising funds to feed the horses for August and September. And and here's where you come in. If you find yourselves willing and able to help out in this particular short-term fundraiser, it would be really wonderful to rely on you. I will share this website that I created to this effect, and there's a button here which you can click to support Juan Caballos in this particular pursuit. And the first Friday of every month, that would be this coming Friday, we've made a deal to bring the monthly payment to Juan at this restaurant called Motorpod, which I love. It's right next to the river. Motorpod has been one of my few restaurant hideaways during the pandemic because it's out next to the river. It's fresh. It is nature. It is wonderful. So what I'm trying to say is hopefully you'll look through this and you will feel inclined to help us support this small but very personal fundraiser, because it makes a difference in the lives of people that we know and love and that would otherwise not be able to continue working on their own livelihood. So that is the very long story of Juan Caballos and what he's been doing and what we've been doing. I also want to let you know that the world cannot, I repeat, cannot come to an end, at least not before Christmas, because Jennifer Hudson is playing Aretha Franklin in a movie called Respect. And this is coming out in the holiday season in theaters in December. Now, this is a movie I would go to the movie theater to watch. And there's a small teaser in this article called Respect, and it is really amazing. I am going to share this with you, as always, with the show notes. And we also find out that, of course, it's Monday, so we have a new parody coming in from Randy Rainbow. In this case, he is wearing a Hillary mask, and he has taken the song Put on a Happy Face and transformed it into Cover Your Freaky Face. So there you go. That would be Randy Rainbow on a Monday. Cover your freaking face. Speaking of face masks, and that will be something for us to enjoy later on today. Let me take a quick look at the question that I asked you just a second ago. Are you likely to shop at an outdoor market? Well, it's pretty half and half. I can see that a little over 50% of you would choose to shop at an outdoor market, whereas about half of you would choose to stay cautiously away from them. I understand and respect that. And I just hope that if you go to an outdoor market, just be careful. And if you're going to take the risk, take the risk knowing that if you're shopping directly from vendors, you're probably shopping local, and that makes a difference to a lot of people. So I'm going to leave that as such. Let me take a quick look at your comments. Um, Praise for Jorge at Hotel Mercurio. This is wonderful to know. Um, Fernando loves an outdoor market. I love an outdoor market as well. I've always loved them. And for me, whenever I visit any city in Mexico, going to the mercados is something that is really part of my own need to mark my territory when I go to a city that I have never discovered before. Um, I'm glad that you're dressed, Logan, and I hope you're going to get a lot of donations this week for Winka Values. I hope that the effort is successful. Um, I see folks making comments about whether you go to local shops and whatnot. This is great. I will be more than happy to share my Repairman contact information, Jeannie, whenever I'm done with the whole thing. What I can tell you is he's coming today or tomorrow to do an appraisal at my home. I have a fairly large television set, so I didn't want to deal with carrying it. And he's charging me 600 pesos to come here and do the diagnosis at my home, which I thought was absolutely fair. But I will keep you posted as to what comes out of that. Erik Whitner, my dear friend, I am so happy to see you. Um, and thank you for being who you are. Erik Whitner, as you know, is the first provider in Puerto Vallarta of food tours. Erik opened Vallarta Eats food tours many years ago, and has been very successful with his endeavors. And I just love the fact that Erik's company has gotten so many tourists closer to our tradition of eating outdoors and eating a traditionally Mexican food. I just love the projects that he undertakes. And something else that is not very well known about Erik Whitner, is that he empowered Natasha Moraga. We know Natasha from the tile park, Lázaro Cárdenas Park, and we know Natasha as being Puerto Vallarta's most notorious mosaic artist. Well, this whole thing started because Erik, through his kind heart, empowered Natasha to take a master class in tile work in Philadelphia with a renowned master up there. So it is always humbling to know that people around us make wonderful things happen, and sometimes we don't even know about them. Thank you, Noy. That was exactly what I was trying to say earlier when I was talking about Paso Ancho, El Rio Barbecue, Kurt's wonderful restaurant. If you've been to El Rio, you've been to Paso Ancho. If you keep going up that road, oh my goodness, it is just beautiful. You're next to the river, and there's all these Mexican families this time of year enjoying the waters before they get too murky, because they will start getting murky. It is just a great part of town to be in. If you see me smiling and glowing, it's because it's so near Puerto Vallarta, and yet you find yourself surrounded by nothing but nature, and it is absolutely wonderful. Um, if anybody would like to get the word out about local artisans to make furniture, happy to promote them on my Facebook group. This is great to know. Thank you very much, Cheryl. I hope things are going well in your world. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. I'm wondering what the white canister graphic is above my head. Oh, good Lord, it's my microphone. Dunk. This is a studio microphone. It is suspended with all these black little tight rubbery things. And this is my voice microphone. It's a traditional old-fashioned radio microphone, and that's the reason why it's sitting there. It keeps me sounding good, hopefully, and sounding clear. Although some days I just want to whack myself in the head with it. But I thought that was wonderful. Oh, a white canister. I love it. Mari, you made my day. I love that. I love that. Let's see. Mijal agrees with me on the Aretha Franklin movie. Um, Liz, thank you very much for your remark. Again, the website that we've put together to for people to learn more about Juan Caballos and how to help feed these horses will be part of the show notes today. Um, uh, let's see. Kathleen, I haven't answered your question. I love Kathleen and Todd because they hire me to take photographs for their ice cream shops. I was at their shop on Basilio Vadillo on Saturday taking photographs of their manager. We had a good time. It was a great afternoon, and I should have photos ready for you later on today at the latest. Um, boom, 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 boom. Wondering how COVID is in PB, says Darlene Ranger. Um, Darlene, you must be new to these broadcasts. We always start with COVID-19 news. So if you'd like to watch this complete episode from the beginning after we're done, you will find out how we're doing. Um, Logan has a very good point. If you're here in Puerto Vallarta and would rather make a donation in person, we're going to be at Motorpod this Friday from 4 to 6. I'm going to be there, so it should be a lot of fun. DM Van Pelt just came back from the Grand Canyon this past weekend. People required to wear face masks. That's good to know. That's good to know. Um, all kinds of really wonderful comments. This is great. Lots of love for Erik Whitner and his tours. Um, and yes, thank you very much for that. Again, I'll keep you posted on how this goes. And do I predict doing more movie music gatherings in the future when appropriate? Julie, for those of you who don't know, I have hosted movie nights at a couple of venues in town. I have done music appreciation lectures in the past. Um, I would love to be able to do more of that. And I think it has a lot to do with how comfortable we feel being in places like that. I was sitting, as a matter of fact, with a dear friend yesterday at El Moro Paraíso, this restaurant that we were talking about right now. Um, we were having lunch yesterday at El Moro, and I was saying to my friend Sandy, I almost feel more comfortable bringing a pair of speakers to a place like this out near nature where a few like-minded individuals might want to get together and talk about music than being in an enclosed place like a theater. So the question being, do I predict doing it again? Absolutely, Julie. For better or worse, I have this uncontrolled desire to share knowledge about music and other topics, and just love the opportunity to uh, to spread excitement about things that are meaningful to me. And music and film is definitely up my sleeve. So hopefully we'll be able to do this again at some point, but not today. Today is Monday. The day is about to start. I have to go help my friend Paul at Hotel Mercurio. He's going to have a live interview of sorts in a little while. And he says to me, I need technical support. So I'm going to bring some lights to him and maybe a wig or two in case he needs them. And then, if all goes well, I'm going to receive the TV Repairman this afternoon. And this is all good because there's all kinds of wonderful TV that I've been watching on my iPad lying in bed, which is not bad. But, having a better TV is always an exciting thing. Anyhow, the day is young. I hope you have a really awesome Monday. I hope you have a great beginning of the week. To the very nice lady that just asked about COVID-19, Darlene, again, I encourage you to watch the whole episode, the whole broadcast once we're done. And we always feature important news at the beginning of the show. And then we move on to more leisurely stuff, which is just as important to many of us, or hopefully most of us. Anyhow, it is Monday. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay creative, stay inspired, stay in touch, and be kind to one another. And I will see you again tomorrow. Have a great day.